This is Hoosier Ag Today. I'm Eric Pfeiffer reporting on Indiana agriculture from the field. Today at Rippy Farms in west central Indiana, just south of Lafayette. Ryan Rippy invited me out to join him on the combine to cut soybeans last Thursday. Hear the full interview now, and we began with that decision. Why are we harvesting soybeans right now instead of corn?
We did start on corn. We ran about 80 acres of corn to start out with to get rolling with harvest. The rest of the corn really wasn't ready. It was fairly wet, and we had soybeans ready, and it was beautiful weather, so we felt like we probably better get going on some soybeans. We're approaching, not quite halfway, but approaching halfway on soybean harvest at this point.
And obviously we've been talking this year about potential record yields in both corn and soybeans. So let's start with corn. What have you been thinking about your yields on that initial 80 acres?
It was the best early corn that we've ever ran by a significant margin. And I feel like probably as we move out into some of the fuller season stuff, we'll probably be better. So I would say we're looking, where I sit right now, we're probably looking at potential record on corn on our farm. Being this deep into soybean harvest, I'd say we're probably looking at a record on soybeans too. Soybeans have been phenomenal as well.
Let's talk about some of your equipment in here, Ryan. We've got yield monitors. Talk a little bit about what you're using. You were just telling me about the Climate Field View that you really enjoy. You really like the platform.
So we've got the Pro 700 here, which is a controller and the yield monitor for the combine. And then we actually have a climate drive that we plug into the combine and puts the data up onto the iPad. So I use that more for my actual yield, my yield maps and things. My monitoring, I more use the Pro 700 for actual machine monitoring, and use the iPad for the actual yield monitoring.
We were just talking a little bit before we started the video here about what you like to do as far as cutting your beans and setting the line and doing some of the precision planning. Talk through some of that, like what you like to do.
So we usually plant the soybeans on a due east and west, and then I like to cut them at about a 3% angle. I feel like that gives us a little bit better feeding in the head. You're not always running the same track that way, and that's kind of some of the reasoning behind that.
And as far as where you're at in the season here, obviously we had to start a little bit early. Does that help things out here, or I mean, were you all set and ready to go when the crop was?
It kind of pushed us a little bit to get ready. We were kind of scrambling there the last week to make sure that we had everything ready to go. We built a new bin, and we're kind of pushing those guys to get that finished up and ready for us to go. But it's a good thing to get started early. I mean, I feel like a day of harvest in September is probably worth two in November. So I mean, we have beautiful sunny weather right now, good temperatures, so we like getting started early if we can.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the weed pressure that you've had this season. What have you seen from weeds out here in your fields while you have been out?
We're cutting some non-dicamba beans, some non-extend beans right now. They're actually part of the Plenish program, and we do have a little bit of giant rag pressure in here. Not too bad, but we do have a little bit. For the most part, our residuals took care of it. Where we did the extend beans, we really virtually have no weed pressure there. The extend really did a good job for us there.
So while you're in here in the combine, long days, sometimes long nights when you get down to it, where does your mind go? Are you thinking about, what's for dinner when you get home? Are you thinking about policy? What types of things does your mind kind of drift toward while you're out here?
It goes to a lot of different places. Lots of times I like to look at the different, variety or hybrid that we're looking at kind of makes some mental notes as far as standability or yield or different things that might influence choices, what I choose for next year. Some days you're thinking about logistics, where we need to be moving next or what we need to be doing to keep harvest moving along. Sometimes you think about your family and miss them and kind of wonder what they're doing. Just your mind goes lots of different places when you have hours and hours of sitting in the combine.
My thanks to Ryan Rippy from Rippy Farms in West Central Indiana for inviting me out. We would love to hear your stories, hear about your yields, and see some pictures from the combine. Use the hashtag HatHarvest18 on Facebook and Twitter and share those with us. And if you think you can put up with me, invite me out for a combine ride, and I'll come out and maybe even bring lunch. Again, that's hashtag HatHarvest18. I'm Eric Pfeiffer. This is Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's leading farm network.